Welcome. I am Jeffrey Martin, Director of the University of Georgia Performing Arts Center. Thank you for joining us today for Arts Chats, part of our virtual programming series this fall. The recording of this conversation will be archived on our Facebook page and YouTube channel so you can enjoy it again or share it with your friends or family. I hope you will join us as we continue to offer performances and events in our virtual concert series this fall by many esteemed artists, including the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center's Front Row National Series, which we've enjoyed bringing to you for the last 2 months, as well as Grammy Award winner Kathy Mattea and Voces 8, as well as others. You can learn more about these events and performances and purchase tickets to attend in person or to watch online on our website at pac.uga.edu. Our next Arts Chat will take place on December 2nd when Georgia native and Broadway actor Amber Iman joins us. Amber most recently toured the United States in Hamilton prior to the shutdown. Now on with today's show. Pianist Wu Han is co-artistic director of the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center and is among the most esteemed and influential classical musicians in the world today. She is a recipient of Musical America's Musician of the Year award and has risen to international prominence through her wide-ranging activities as a concert performer, recording artist, educator, arts administrator, and cultural entrepreneur. In high demand as a recitalist, soloist, and chamber musician, Wu Han appears at many of the world's most prestigious venues and performs extensively as duo partner with cellist David Finkel, and together they co-founded artist-led classical music's first musician-directed and internet-based recording company, whose catalog has won widespread critical praise. Recent recordings include a set of 3 Wu Han Live albums, a collaborative production between the artist-led and Music at Menlo Live labels. Complementing her work as a performing artist, Wu Han's artistic partnerships bring her in contact with new audiences in the US and abroad. She is artistic advisor of the Wolf Trap Foundation for the Performing Arts Chamber Music at the Barnes series, co-founder and artistic director of Music at Menlo Chamber Music Festival, and Institute in Silicon Valley. In recognition of her passionate commitment to music education, Montclair State University has appointed her a special artist in residence. Of course, we have enjoyed Wu Han's many performances at the University of Georgia Performing Arts Center over the years. Her enthusiasm for chamber music has endeared her to all of us, and we always enjoy her performances in Athens. It is my great pleasure to welcome this talented musician to Studio HH today. Hello, Wu Han.
Hi, Jeff. Oh, I'm so happy you invited me. We miss Athens so much. And that
Oh, thank
beginning
you.
video of the hall just made me want to cry.
I know, it's bittersweet, isn't it, to see these places that you enjoy performing, and we enjoy seeing you perform, of course, there, and miss you very much.
Mhm. Well,
Well,
Athens is like an artistic home for many chamber music societies musicians. So I hope
yes,
everybody is well.
yeah, and we look forward to having them back as soon as we can, for sure.
Mhm.
Now, let's get started just by talking with you a little bit about how things are going for you these days. What's life been like for you?
Well, I was thinking about this question this morning. Of course, back in March, we were all in shock that my 280 days of travel schedule was complete, disappeared. I actually have a chance to stay home, and I thought, wow, this is a great vacation. What happened was the thank God for the internet and God bless the Zoom and all the digital broadcasts. I now discover am ever I have never been this busy in my whole life.
Wow.
Well, first of all, you don't have an excuse. I'm sorry, I am on tour. I can't join anything. Second, you actually found out you can still be in touch with people, and Chima Music Society has this amazing archive of. We organized it back in March, and we have over 1,000 pieces that are on HD camera, on a high production. So we immediately jump into design all the programs. So it's been an amazing chance actually for any artist to grow and to dream up projects. And I'm so busy and so excited about what's possible. And I'm learning all kinds of new skill, which is also super important.
Wow. Who would have thought that this time would have developed into that sort of a thing, right?
Exactly. In the society's world, we are not only designing the front row program, we are also inventing all kinds of new series. And I have an international quartet series that is going to present like, six different quartets all over the world through the digital format. I had the front row series, which the greatest thing about the digital series is you have no budget restrictions. Yeah, I can put three quartets or four quartets in one concert, and everybody say fine. I can invite people from Europe, and they don't have to travel for a whole day to come here and stay in the hotel for 3 days. They are just on Zoom like magic. The front row series, however, is super important because we know we had this great access as not many people has as lucky as we are. So we are sharing it with dear friends or dear audience like in Athens, Georgia, and those are special programs. They are incredible. So I'm very happy about this whole initiative. Yeah.
Great.
And then I invented a couple more important series. There's one series called the Musical Heritage. It's actually fascinating is for me to dig up all these giants of music history, whoever has made a dent and are hugely influential on music development or on artistic ethics or value. So this year we did one on Chrysler. We're about to do one about Paganini. Both has changed perception of music making. And David did one about Rostropovich last week, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, we did a session about Isaac Stern. So the musical heritage will continue. We're planning that for the spring. There's another series we designed. It's called Art of Interpretation. So we get an artist to come in and they play and take the music apart for our audience. And that is a lot of fun because in the real life, you don't really have the time. Musician come in, play the concert, and we leave. And we never have that way of opening up our studio and show everybody. So that's also a fun series. What else did I do? Oh, I released a recording of Winterreise, which I always wanted to do. I finished that. David and I just finished five Beethoven cello sonatas with a little lecture in front of it so people can know the artistic language development of Beethoven's cello cycle. I'm recording all of the Beethoven violin sonatas, and we're producing another session of the French cello sonatas. Um, and I'm flying to Taiwan, of all places, to play four concerts in about 10 days. And
Oh, wow. How exciting.
yeah, Taiwan apparently is the only country now. They just hit 200 days with zero virus. Uh,
Wow.
the way they do it is we have to go there 14 days to quarantine. They take your keys away. You can't leave the hotel.
Oh,
If you get caught by the hotel camera that you leave your room, you have to start from day one. And the
oh,
fine, get this, the fine of breaking the quarantine is $30,000.
oh my goodness.
So if
Wow.
you breaks the quarantine, the police check on you twice a day. They will call you, keep you company. They actually will send you a robot app to keep you company if you want conversation. So
Wow.
for that, everybody is going to Taiwan to play concert, and they had the most robust concert schedule. I think Yo-Yo is on his way. I'm on my way. Jimmy Lin was just there. Daniel Trevikov was just there. I mean, everybody is going to Taiwan playing concert.
Wow.
How about
Amazing. And are they having good attendance? Like, are people just behaving like normal then since they don't have the virus?
well, everybody wear masks. They have put the mask production to the island. They don't count on anybody to build a mask. And so they went from 200,000 to 2 million per day to supply for the population. And as well as the government has put out fundings for everyone to attend concerts. So the concert ticket is super inexpensive. And apparently all the concert halls are packed.
Wow.
And they all wear masks. There's no social distancing, but nobody breaks the rule. So
Mm.
it's very rigorous society, but they have economic gain this year. Um, none of the business was shut down. So apparently, restaurant is packed, but everybody eat behind the plastic glasses, and there are lots of private rooms set up so you can stay in your family pods. But since there's no cases, but everybody still follow the rule just in case. It's really a fascinating case
It
study.
is interesting. So are you going to have a piano in your hotel room during for those 2 weeks?
Yes, they got me a suite, so I have a piano I can practice.
Nice.
And I'm bringing six musicians with me, and we will do a whole bunch of outreach activities, just like we have done in Athens. We will be meeting three universities' music department and to talk about chamber music. So
Oh, wonderful. That's fantastic. I'm really happy for you all.
yeah, it's you ask me how I'm doing. I'm just so crazy busy. Oh yeah, and then we also just announced a new series for new music because we feel we need to support not only the musicians as well as composers. So we will have conversation with the composers and also having designed digital series to show the audience a whole profile of particular composer specific deposits for the chamber music genre, and then hear them talk about their music with the interview. We actually have commissioned quite a few pieces. So as you could tell, it still is a full season.
Yes, it sounds like it. Are you looking forward to getting back on the road when you can do that again?
Oh, I can't wait. But I think it's going to be a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
so too.
I think everybody, the words on the street is that everybody has to feel comfortable, feel safe. So vaccine is probably necessary. We don't know what's going to happen with that. So, but thank God for these digital communication that uh, I can talk to you. I don't have to fly there, which is wonderful.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm always
exactly.
looking at the bright side, as you could see.
Yes, you do. I always love your enthusiasm and your positive perspective.
Well, it's important. There's so many things that we should take advantage of. Um, uh, take advantage when we don't have something, then like push your creativity actually to the maximum level. And it's exhausting. I have to commit to a lot of project, and I have to lead chamber music society forward. So I can tell you I'm exhausted, but it's actually an excited exhaustion that we have. Through our fundraiser series, we have more than almost now 270 broadcasts all over the United States. We're making so many new friends. We're keeping our audience together, and that means so much for us. And I also find that our audience actually appreciate music more than ever, and
Hmm.
so that part of it is also so touching. Before that, it was, traveling, playing a concert, you have a routine, you take it for granted. Now, I would never dare to do that ever again. Right?
Yes, I think a lot of us will feel that way too.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the history of your career at CMS. How long have you been with the Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center?
I have been there 14 seasons now.
Okay.
Um, there are talk of extending our contract. So it's an amazing organization because there's not an organization like CMS is purely devoted to the art form of chamber music, and has the real estate at Lincoln Center in center of Manhattan and has a beautiful hall and has our own media studio, has an international touring program and a national touring program. So has a radio show, and now we have developed a TV show as well. So it's an important organization, and I'm very, very proud to be associated to.
Oh, that's fantastic. What are, as you think about your time there, are there any special projects that you've participated in that might stand out?
Absolutely. Um, I think society has gone through the last 14 years the most amazing expansion. When I was on board, 2004, no, actually 16 years ago, sorry. Um, that's right, I signed the contract 2004. I say 14 years because 14 years of programming. Um, when we were on board 2004, there's 13 radio program. Now we have a 52 weeks of radio program, meaning we can take a, a radio slot and provide weekly chamber music broadcast. And we have expanded that also for all over the world. The media expansion was really crucial. We have been videotaping all of our output for the last 10 years with the most amazing team. We have a media department. So it was supposedly just archive, and it certainly became now the life saving series. For that, we had formed a partnership with Medici TV, Tencent in China, and as well as using the video, we now have our own TV series um, in New York, uh, New York's PBS. We have done quite a few documentary, so that's also important. We just did a 50 years anniversary documentary. Now for grooming young musician, we have expanded the Bowers program. Uh, that have that program has been the who is who of the great musicians that come through Lincoln Center. So to expand that program, and really the reason it changed the name from CMS to Bowers program is we actually uh, found a founder to really ensure the future of the program. So that's really great. Um, the national touring program also is super important. Our relationship, for instance, with Athens was really, really special to come back year after year to develop the chamber music audience is something that we are so proud of. We have the same relationship with Harris Theater in Chicago, Drew University in Madison, New Jersey, Purchase, Shaker Village in Kentucky, Saratoga Spring in the SPAC, Saratoga Performing Arts Center, as well as Grand Rapids in Michigan. And the international partnership that we have developed are Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, Colombia, both in Bogota and Medellin. And we started a partnership with the White Night Festival in Russia. And we're about to start one in Spain. Uh, Boy, I'm exhausted.
I'm tired just listening to the list.
Also, the touring program now, internationally and nationally, we actually play more concert than we play in New York City. So, which is also amazing.
Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations on all of that success. That's fantastic.
Well, it's great fun to bring the greatest program to chamber music lovers. Yeah.
How do you, what's the process about that you go through for putting together a program? Say you're going to bring a concert to us in Athens. How do you shape that program and how do you decide which musicians will participate?
Well, we have a theory and philosophy is that we are here to serve music. So actually, when we design the program, usually the programming go first before the selection of musicians. Program design is crucial for us because I always feel the sense of responsibility. If my audience give me 2 hours, I want to make sure there is a purpose. There is an arch, there is a design, there is something that they can discover and bring them closer to the music. So once I find that, sometimes could be a composer focus, sometimes could be a region focus, sometimes could be a contrasting repertoire, sometimes could be some kind of mood that it's just so much fun. Sometimes can be, the most profound statement. There's so many ways to design a program. Once the program is done, we have to look at which musician can serve this music uh, the best. Does the musician, if I do a French program, I'm going to look for a musician has the most delicious sound because French program needs the expressions and the coloring. If I doing a serious Beethoven program, I want somebody to have the most incredible discipline and the sound productions. If I'm doing a Russian program, I need somebody super passionate, to fit that music. And so you need to sort of select musician, and sometimes you also need to do some matchmaking, arrange marriage. You want to make sure the group can get along. So as a chamber music artistic director, you actually do need to have all kinds of information in the back of your mind. And thank God I'm a player, so I work with my musician all the time. So I do know their temperament. I also do know their passion. So when I'm matching, doing these matching game to put a group together, it's also really I know who get along with what. Sometimes if you get five musicians all high temperament, might not work on the road. So you need to find one or two quiet and can balance it out. Of course, the very important thing is budget as well. It's very hard to send more than six musicians on the road. Um, but what Chamber Music Society could do are these mixed pieces besides string quartet and piano trios. So that make our program really rich and interesting. So once in a while, we will send 7 or 8 musicians to just make a point. So it's an art. Someday I'm gonna give a lesson about how to do programming because I learned a lot myself throughout the 20 years of being artistic directors.
Yeah, you should. I think that would be fascinating. I'm sure a lot of people would really be interested in that process.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, as you look at the larger ecosystem of classical music, what role do you see chamber music playing within the world of classical music?
Oh, I had to tell you, Jeff, I was trained as a soloist. Before I turned 22, 21, I didn't touch chamber music at all. And when I discovered chamber music, it was like hallelujah moment. Like, oh my God, how come I did not know this art form? And because it's an art form that requires such intimacy and such um, a complete understanding of the score, and as well as for musicians to really form a community. So once you start playing chamber music, um, you will have more friends. You will have much larger support systems, and you also your name spread like wildfire. For me, I think I am not the only person discovered this. I think a lot of young musicians actually realize that. There's a couple of things on chamber music also is crucial for everybody to know. In this pandemic time, I think chamber music will be the first art form to come back because it's small. It's easier for us to create the paths to be safe. It's easier to travel versus having a large productions. So I think live concert will come back first through chamber music. Actually, it's already happened. Lincoln Center Rose Studio just opened 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're doing live productions now for the video. So and also because it's practical, it's inexpensive. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's
you
right.
for me and David, we have a duo, only two of us, we can make music happen. Um, unlike the ballet or the opera or the symphonic work that would really require large gathering. So I am seeing an incredible opportunity and a bright future. Um, this art form also, I think people are also understanding and realizing the value in education. That's why this time I told you earlier I'm going to Taiwan, and they are very, very curious because they have a lot of uh, musicians going back to Taiwan are our generation. Um, we all have connections and has been trained in chamber music genre and understand the value. So I think um, it's not only for training musician, it's also training for character, for work ethics, uh, for responsibility, for negotiation skill. You know, you can't not have all of the things I talk about uh, and being successful in chamber music world. You know, I often said like you just have to be a very nice person. It's very simple. Otherwise, nobody want to play with you. So in chamber music world, so it's a very good tool for education, and I learned that from Isaac Stern in his late days. He really believed chamber music would change perception of music. It's hard from when you're going to rehearse with two other people. You don't have a teacher to tell you. You have to become your own teacher. You also have to become teacher for the other two. But then you have to learn how to negotiate or make suggestions that really will make things happen. So it developed all kinds of skills that is not necessary in the normal music education. So I see chamber music as the best thing could happen for music education, for community, and also for the culture environment in the United States.
Hmm. Wow, interesting.
Yep,
It's really a team sport, isn't it?
absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I'll just give you a simple example because I run not only Chamber Music Society, also Music at Menlo. A group of us, I'm now the senior musician, but at Chamber Music Society's world, we have something like more than 30, maybe 34 artistic directors.
Hmm.
And in Menlo's world, we have, because Menlo was found in the Silicon Valley in Menlo Park. The idea when I started Menlo was an entrepreneurial project. So we learned how to start projects, and chamber music was not that hard to start a project. It's the same thing when I first came to Athens. We say, okay, let's have a chamber music series. It's much cheaper than any other series, so a musician build the community together. And in Menlo's case, I have now Menlo is going to the 19th season. We have 22 projects out of Menlo. Pretty much it was our young musician goes to a community, start a concert series, raise the money, build the audience, through chamber music. So it's if I have a world map of what chamber music development is for you, you will see bright lights shining everywhere.
Hmm.
It's a, yeah, it's a fascinating phenomenon
Yeah,
in in the U.S. right now.
interesting. What about the origin of chamber music as a form? Can you tell us a little bit about like where it came from and how maybe how it's evolved to where it is today?
Well, chamber music came very, very early just because if you start to play music, you want to have companionship. So even from early days, the royalties also is the greatest way to have entertainment. You hire a couple musicians after dinner, you have a concert, and that's how chamber music started. That's why it's called chamber music. It started off on small chamber, and so that's how they define that. You know, all the prince and princess from the Lobkowitz to the Esterhazys to all the Lecnowski in Vienna, they all have their own chamber string quartets and the Razumovsky, uh, ambassador to Russia, and they all have really had their own sets of important musicians. Um, and also in the old days, everybody, there's no TV, there's no computers, no distractions. You want entertainment, this is your entertainment. When somebody learn to play the piano, you invite your sister or your teacher or your friends to come play some piano four hands with you. If your brother and your sisters are string players, let's have some piano trios. Let's read through some sonata. And also, the great composers like Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, Mendelssohn, Schumann, Brahms, they all provide a lot of chamber music composition because actually that's a much best way of making quick money because of all of these amateur musicians needing music to entertain and to learn. So that's actually very true to how chamber music started. Chamber music also because it's kind of intimate and it's kind of small. Um, it's very easy to produce from the early days. So composers sometimes will use it to write um, dedication. I can think of many. Or sometimes because they only take two, three people to play, they will write pieces when a special occasion or sometimes it's a traumatic experience like the Smetana trio because his 5 years old daughter died like FAE Sonata of Brahms is because it's a gift to their dear friend Joachim. The Frank Violin Sonata is a wedding gift. And there is a Schumann quartet. Schumann piano quintet was Robert's gift to his wife, Clara, so she could tour this piece without needing or hiring the whole orchestra, right? Mozart Piano Quartet was because the publishers say write something so people can I can sell a lot of copy for you. Beethoven's Opus One trios was the reason that supported him for 2 years. The profit from that sales of the three piano trios. So the the idea of chamber music's beginning was really practical and also entertaining. Later, when the big symphonic work take over, the operatic statement from Wagner or happen, you still have people writing down the most private thoughts like Shostakovich, when he was being afraid of his life and privately he needs to express his true feelings, so he wrote all of his string quartets. And the musician will apparently I heard story from the Russian musicians, if these are really true feelings, so but they are not allowed to really express in the society, they will go into the garage which has no windows in the middle of the night with the candles so they can read through the quartets to hear the latest work by Shostakovich. And that's why the Borodin Quartet still playing the 15th quartet or the 14th quartet under candlelight for the Russians. That means very different situation. So a lot of time the chamber music are private thoughts and passionate romantic gestures or desperations. Also, it's very emotional. That's why this art form is so fantastic. It's once you get into it, it one story after another, you can't help it to get completely seduced. Yeah,
Hmm. It's fascinating. Seduce, that's a perfect word for it. It's just
yeah. Mm-hmm.
drawn into all the stories. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. And once you know that, you also have deeper appreciation. It's like a, it's like the hidden opera. We have our drama hidden behind the music code. Um, Schumann string quartet, or many Schumann. Da-dum, that's Clara. That's how he put in codes inside uh,
Hmm.
to say his wife's name because they are so crazy about each other. So the string quartet, the third string quartet, Clara, da 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 da. Same thing, da dum da dum da 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 da. The piano quintet, da yum, that's Clara right there. The old code in the chamber music. So once you know a little more, it's really fun to discover it.
Hmm. You're like an encyclopedia. It's fascinating.
Well, I love this art form, and it's really true. When I discover it, I just couldn't get enough of it. And the way I just finished the Beethoven cello sonata cycle, and the way you can look at the early sonata, middle sonata, and end, and each one all connected to a cellist friend of his, and each one all connected also to a patron that of friendship. So you once you realize that, you just say, "Wow, I wish he has more cellist friend." Uh, there's five sonatas for that. Um, so you actually can discover a lot about composers' personal life through the chamber music repertoire. Yeah,
Oh,
fun, isn't it?
interesting.
Yeah.
Um, can you share with us a little bit about your own personal artistic journey? You mentioned you trained as a soloist, and how has your experience in music evolved as you've matured, both with age and as an artist? Can you talk a little bit about your evolution in music?
Yes, I started out as a soloist, and I played a lot of concerto and recital, and back in my hometown of Taiwan, Taipei, and I won all the competitions. So I was sort of handed a career when I was, I think my first competition winning was when I was 11, and then I have been on stage all the time. Um, but Taiwan is a small island, and so I wanted to explore. So I came to the United States. The original thoughts I will come here for 2 3 years and get a degree and go back and continue my career there. But I came here, and this is true. I discovered chamber music. I was in the right place in the right time. I went to Hart School of Music in Connecticut. I did not apply any school because I had a career already. I didn't feel the need until my teacher came to Taiwan, saw me, sent me a package, say full scholarship, and I told my mom I was so exhausted from since I was very young on stage. I want to go out for 2 years. I'll be back. So I went to Hart, and my teacher told me, um, "You're a very good pianist. If you want to be a great musician, you really should study chamber music." And I said, "What is that?" My teacher said that there's a young quartet that just became the resident quartet in our school, and they are starting a chamber music competition. Why don't you study a piano quintet and enter the competition? And the prize is to, if you win, is to get to play with this quartet. And I said, great. Which quintet should I learn? They say Schumann quintet. Great. I learned it. I won the prize, and that was the Young Emerson quartet. So my first chamber music experience was with the Emerson Quartet. You know what kind of, and I didn't know any of this. I just thought, wow, this is really fantastic. Great playing, great art form, so much fun. And I made friends with these four young professors, and that's really fantastic. And they all asked me to play for their recitals. So that's how I started my chamber music journey. And the first thing they say, "Oh, you're really talented. You should apply for the Marlboro Chamber Music Festival." And I was just young and inexperienced. I said, "What is that? I never heard of it." And so they say, "Why don't you go play for Rudolph Serkin because he runs the festival?" So I said, "Great, I'll call him up." I was so naive. I called Mr. Durkin and the office, his office say, "Well, you had to be, he's very busy, he's traveling." And I said, "Well, I need to learn how to do chamber music. So when should I call back next?" They say, "Call back in 2 weeks." And I call back in 2 weeks. "Sorry, he's not available. Will you call back in 2 weeks?" I said, "I will do." And I'll do that again. So I was very persistent. Somebody told me that's how I can learn something. I'm just going to go for it. So I did that for almost 6 months. And finally, Mr. Sorkin said, "Sure, come play for me." and I auditioned for him, and he took me. I was the only pianist that year to enter the Marlboro Festival as a new, not a returning pianist, as a young pianist coming in, and it was so great. So, and after that, I went to Aspen Music Festival. It's through the festival I met all these amazing people, and I started to play concerto there, and I also did a lot of chamber music. And then I went to many festival, and from the La Jolla Chamber Fest in the summer, they asked me to become the artistic director. That's how I started my administrative duty. La Jolla lasted for 3 years. I went to Menlo, started my own festival, and 3 years later, Lincoln Center called and said, "We like what you're doing in the West Coast. Why don't you do that in the East Coast as well?" So that's how I became the director. I had to say a few things that was very important if I think back. It's at some point of my life, some extraordinary people in the beginning with the Emerson Quartet, Rudolph Serkin, Menahem Pressler, Lillian Collier, and then later Mr. Stern. They are these amazing masters that somehow, when they are having a full performing schedule, they found in their life to support me. And that was really important. I was taking lessons with Lillian Collier, where my daughter is named after. She never charged me a penny.
Hmm.
Same thing when I went play for Mr. Sorkin, just come play for me. Um, and so I feel a great urge, a great sense of responsibility to give back.
Hmm.
So that's why the Bowers program in CMS is very crucial, very important for me. I think the investment to the next generation is unavoidable. And I was lucky enough to be the recipient. Even my teacher from Hart went to Taipei, saw this Chinese kids on stage, came backstage, said, "Let me give you a full scholarship." That's amazing. That changed my life.
Hmm.
And so that kind of work for probably for you in the university environment. Also for us now is in charge of taking care of the art form. I think that's for me. I think that's where I will probably spend rest of my life doing and never back out from that position. Um, for the responsibility of now in charge of Lincoln Center Chamber Music Society, that is also a dream job for me. As you know, that I love chamber music. If you don't know it by now, something is wrong. I love this art form so much, and I just love to share that with everyone. It's really extraordinary art form. It takes participation. It's a little different for this art form. It's not a art form of entertainment that come to you. You have to go to it. But once you go to it, you will get gain so much back. It takes observation to realize what's going on stage, that we're passing cues, passing melodies around. Um, each musician has great sense of responsibility, so it's a good way to be um, to be exposed and to learn how to lead the whole group. So once you do that, once you understand the principle of chamber music, you go to concert, you will never be bored. Um, because you will see all the little details. Even sometimes somebody has an eyebrow raised, things happen. Had to be very active as an active listener, and so that makes it fun. And also, like I said, chamber music musicians, or if you succeed in the chamber music field, you usually are fun-loving and pretty funny, uh, and outgoing or attractive in the quiet way. So it's really fun to hang out with all the chamber music musicians. And so I think I have the greatest life. I'm very
Yeah.
uh, to
Well, your enthusiasm for chamber music is very contagious in a great way. So I'm sure that plays a huge role in your success there. Um, this is a good segue for us. I have a couple of students who would like to ask you a question. They're studying here at the University of Georgia. So, are you ready?
Wonderful. I can't wait. Go for it.
Okay, first we have Ahui, who is a piano performance major from Inner Mongolia, China.
Wow. Hey, Ahui, good to see you. You muted. We can't hear you.
Unmute your microphone.
Hi, sorry, hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Such a pleasure to be able to ask you questions. I just have a question, but I was curious, how has the pandemic impacted you personally and professionally? Um, and then I also have a follow-up question. So being a professional musician who's always working on so many different projects at the same time, how do you manage your time and focus?
Well, the first question is, of course, it impacted all of us greatly. And I will imagine it will impact your generation. And that's really important. But if you are an creative artist, you should always look ahead and not look back. So in the beginning, of course, it's in such shocking way that I don't think I got out of my bed for a month, or I just keep doing house chores and I didn't touch the piano. But once you get over that, you realize you actually have to turn your mind around and be as productive as possible, especially in this extreme condition. Okay. So for all of you, my biggest advice would be change your mindset, get ready for the opening. You got to learn your repertoire. You got to get ready for your audition because the opportunity will open up. Okay. What's the second question again? Sorry.
The second is being so busy working on so many
Oh,
different projects at the same time. How do you manage your time and focus?
well, I think if you love something so much, you will find time for it. You have to be a little bit determined and a little bit maniacal. You do need to learn time management. You do need to learn how to accomplish things in the most efficient way. So my days and my life are super organized. I have my piano time. I have my business time. I have humongous to-do list. I have to-do list separated in many different categories, so I can really lead organization, and I also learn how to manage uh, office. So I surround myself with the most capable people that they can execute a lot of important tasks as well as helping me through the day. So I have systems that manage my schedule, and but I do get up very early if needs to be. Sometimes 5 or 6. I would get my piano work done first thing 3 hours. By 9 o'clock, I'm ready to face the world. My piano work is finished. So you do need to be super disciplined, and you do need to be super strategic, and you will learn that, especially once you have a kid, you'll definitely learn how to do that because when you have a family, there are different priorities. Yeah.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome. Good luck.
Great,
Okay.
great questions. Thank you. All right, we have one more student. Her name is Sania Kuranisheva. She's earning a DMA in piano performance from originally from Moscow, Russia, but currently living in Columbus, Georgia. Welcome.
Hello. Good
Hello,
to
can
see
you hear me?
you.
So good to see you, and it's a pleasure to participate in meeting with you and to be able to ask you questions. I've heard you many times in concerts, and I always was fascinated by the unity and perfection within your group. So
Uh-oh.
questions. How do you? Can you still hear me?
Yes,
How
I
do
can
you
hear you now.
achieve such? How do you achieve such perfection and unity of ideas within your chamber groups? Do you always have similar visions of the pieces you play, or do you have sometimes some disagreements? And how do you overcome the differences in interpretations and perceptions of the pieces?
Well, you can't avoid rehearsal. So that's number one. The rehearsal schedule has to be very, very rigorously figured out. And one more thing is when you do a professional rehearsal, you need to be super prepared. Usually, you will have three hours rehearsal before you hit the stage. So you cannot go into the rehearsal and learn your note. That's too late. That your reputation will be ruined. You have to be super prepared when you walk into your first rehearsal. You already know your score inside out. You already know everybody's part, including your own part by memory. So you are already going into the interpretation discussion immediately. Second thing is to be successful in chamber music genre, you need to have the most um, sensitivity on your ear. That's a really crucial thing. You need to learn how to listen to what's going on around you. And then you need to really have the capability to control your instrument. So if you have that, then you can really catch all the detail. And when somebody asks you to do something, you can immediately deliver. It's not say, can you play this passage faster? Oh, sorry, it will take me another 3 days to learn how to play a little faster on this passage. No, that's just not going to happen. So the preparation and the understanding the capability are super important. How do you gain that? The only way you can gain it is from experience. So go to summer festival. Don't stay at home practice. Summer festival is a place you will have a lot of time to sharpen up your skill. Um, Also, just keep learning the repertoire. You don't want to be hired by Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center first time to play the Schumann Quintet, and that will be the first time you walk on stage to do that. You should already knows all the piano quintet, the piano trio, most of the cello violin sonatas, most of the piano quartet. Then you will have huge success, and most of our musicians has done so. And you grow a lot from entering festival program as well as just having a lot of preparation in order to have a career.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
That's
welcome. It's
Great,
honestly, but work hard for that.
great questions. Thank you. Wow, good advice from such a pro as yourself.
Well,
Um,
I was maniacal. I discovered the Schumann quintet. I said, what other quintet do I need to learn? Okay, Schumann, fine. Dvorak, great. Brahms, I gotta learn that. Shostakovich, Frank, yeah. Keep. And then they say, oh, you have to learn the trio. I said, great. So I learned all of the Beethoven trio, Brahms trio, Dvorak trio, Mendelssohn trio. Chew it up.
yep,
Very useful right now.
exactly. Everyone should be using this time right now to perfect their craft, right?
Correct. Correct.
Well, we're about ready to wrap up. I thought I would just ask one last question myself. And
Mm-hmm.
what is your hope for the future as you look at the future of classical music or chamber music or our world? What is it you're thinking about the future right now?
Great question. Wow. My hope is that our society will value going through this pandemic, will value even more the power of music, especially power of classical music. I know this music is complicated, but I know it brings us all kinds of beauty and comfort. I keep hearing that from all my audience. Um, it's an art form that has such quality, so I hope the appreciation of such thing will continue and will increase. I also do hope that everybody will spend energy, like I said earlier, to invest into the next generation because they will be the one to have to carry these knowledge and these tradition forward. And in order to mount their own future. So I just hope that we have that harmonious society that will increase everybody's quality of life. And I think that make us different than animals, that make us a civilized society that we should all treasure. It's very easy to disband that or discount that or ignore that. But to be able to be in the live concert and to see all the friends, to appreciate the art form, make us a little different. That's what human being is all about. To have gather, to exchange idea, to talk like today, and to encourage creativities. If that could happen, life is worth living.
Yes. Well, I certainly look forward to the time when we can return to gathering and sharing beautiful music and these ideas again. I'm sure you do too. So,
But Jeff, thank you so much for holding the whole community together and to create all these wonderful events and also invite the students in. That was just so wonderful. Thank you, thank you.
well, thank you. We wish you the very best as you continue your work with Chamber Music Society, and we look forward to having you back as soon as we possibly can.
Thank you. I can't wait.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye. What a treat that was to spend some time with Wuhan. A lot of times, most of the time, the artists that come visit us, they are just in town for such a short period of time. We don't get to sit and talk very much and really get to discuss these issues and the things that we care about. So I've really enjoyed these conversations we're having this fall, and I appreciate Wuhan taking some time to spend with us today. I hope you'll join us again for some of our additional programming coming up. You can learn all about it on our website at pac.uga.edu. Thank you so much. See you next time.